Hello everybody, welcome to Strawberry Pumpkin Patch Nursery. And this evening I just thought I was going to do my daily devotional and share it with y'all. The one that I have the title is Jesus Calling. And I've got two of them. And the first one I have was a leatherback, and it was just one a day. Can y'all hear the locusts? It's evening time here. I love the way it sounds. I love evening times. But anyway, but this one, believe it or not, I just happened to pick up at, maybe it was like a thrift store or something like that. And it's morning and evening scripture. And I have my little birdie friend here, a cardinal sitting on my book. And it was funny, just yesterday, we've got some that nest in the tree by us. And he's always, when we're out here, he's always flying back and forth from our roof to the tree across on the other side of the yard. He's always flying over us. And my husband said, look, there's a cardinal. And then Aurora, she's 4 years old, she says, nuh-uh, that's a redbud. And he said, yes, it's a redbird, but it's called a cardinal. Nuh-uh, it's a redbud. He said, okay, it's a redbird. Sometimes you just have to choose your battles. Anyway, so today is July 8th, and it is the evening scripture, and it says, gaze at me, glance at problems. This is the secret of living victoriously. I have called you to live supernaturally, and I have empowered you to do so. Ask my Spirit to help you fix your gaze on me. And then it gives us scripture, and the scripture is John chapter 14, verses 16 through 17, and this is from the New King James Version. It says, I will pray the Father, and he will give you another helper, that he may abide with you forever. The Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it neither sees him nor knows him. But you know him, for he dwells with you and will be in you. And like I said, that was John chapter 14, verses 16 through 17 in the New King James Version. And I've got some words that I wrote down. And if we go back up here where he says, I have called you to live supernaturally. Well, sometimes, I like to just pick words out and look them up. Because, some words you think you know the meaning and you don't. It means something, you have one of those aha moments, then you can understand what you're reading just a little bit better. So I decided that supernatural was a word that I really wanted to focus on. And so the definition for supernatural, it is a Latin word, and it means beyond nature. Anything that pertains to or is caused by something that can't be explained by the laws of nature. So up there where it says, I have called you to live supernaturally, that makes sense. Something that can't be explained by the laws of nature, and that's God. And then empowered. I looked that word up, and empowered, the definition of empowered is process of giving power and status in a particular situation. So he says, and I have empowered you to do so. He's given us the power and the status through him for situations. And then in that first, the verse here, It says, let's see, where is it at? It says, I will pray the Father, and He will give you another helper. It's funny, guys, because I know I've done 2 videos this week and called on one of my little helpers. And I just thought, as soon as I read that, I thought, oh, let's see, the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive because it neither sees Him or knows Him. But you know Him, for He dwells with you and will be in you. Okay, so I looked up the word dwell, and so He dwells means He lives in us or stays as a permanent resident when we ask Him to reside, to live in us, or continue in a given condition or state, to dwell in happiness. So it says there that for He dwells with you. So that means He lives with us. And then this last verse is from 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 18. We fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. I want to jump back up here to where it says, the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, but it neither sees Him nor knows Him. I'm just thinking about the times that we're in right now, and there is a lot of that not seeing the Lord right now. So much hate right now out there, when all we need is to open our eyes and see the Lord. That's what we need. Then it says to also read Hebrews 12, verse 2. So I went ahead and I looked up Hebrews 12, verse 2, and it says, please excuse my writing. I don't have neat writing, and I actually tried to be neat just because I knew I was going to show it. But it says, fixing our eyes on Jesus, and this is NIV, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. For the joy set before Him, He endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. So that was Hebrews 12. Now, one last thing says, before you turn out your lights, invite my Spirit to alert you when you are overly focused on your problems and to redirect your attention to me. That is a good one. I know sometimes I'm much better than I used to be, but I know sometimes that I can just be so worried about a situation that I forget to pray before I go to sleep. I forget to pray when I open my eyes and take a deep breath in the mornings, So that's definitely something I need to do. Ask the Lord to redirect my attention back to Him. Because what's the good of worrying? I can speak of a time that my brother had gotten very, very ill, and nobody knew what was wrong with him. And he was in the emergency room 5 times in 1 month with symptoms of a stroke, and nobody could tell him what was happening with him. Well, 2 weeks, I was terrified for him. 2 weeks exactly to the day, to the hour that my brother got sick with this mysterious whatever it was. I got sick, and my husband had to rush me to the emergency room. And by the time he got me to the emergency room, I couldn't even walk inside. I needed a wheelchair. and my blood pressure was dropping, and then it would elevate, and then it would drop, and then it would elevate. I could barely talk. I was having the exact same symptoms that he was having, and of course they do the EKG and the chest X-ray, and my heart looked great, and but here I am laying in this bed, and I could feel this tingling in my spine, and my arm hurt. My fingers were like tingling, almost like a numb feeling, like when it starts to wake up, that tingle, and my lips. So I truly believe, and what it ended up being, finally, it took my brother about 5 months before he finally had a doctor that said to him, um, I'm pretty sure that what is going on with you, and I mean, this is after many, many emergency room visits, what is going on with you is an anxiety disorder. You're having anxiety attacks, and they can feel like a stroke. They can feel like a heart attack even. And so they got him on some medicine, and he was on it about a month when he started feeling better. But I had been going on, well, I guess it was about 5 months. I don't know exactly. Whenever he finally said, "Sis, go to this doctor that I'm seeing and talk to him and tell him what's going on." So I went and I talked with this doctor, and sure enough, well, this doctor says the same thing to me, and I'm like, come on, what is the likeliness of the same thing happening to me 2 weeks to the day, to the time? It just, I'd never heard of anyone, and he's like, well, do you love your brother? And I said, yes, of course I love my brother. And he said, well, have you been worried and stressed about your brother? And I had been, very, very, very much so. And he said, okay, well, it's very possible that you have triggered your anxiety disorder as well. So I know I kind of told you, got into a story about this, but what I'm saying is I put so much worry in my heart and on my body that it triggered some health issues for me, the same health issues that he was having. And of course, the same doctor got me on, everybody's different, so got me on some medication to help. And I got through it. And it was scary for me, though, but I did get through it. And I saw that doctor for many years after that. I refused to go see any other doctor. This doctor talked to me that day, and he asked me a question. This is where my spiritual life changed, started to change anyway. He asked me, where does your faith lie? And, well, I wasn't raised in the church, but Mama always read the Bible to us. And, I said I believed in God. But there's more to do it. There's more to just believing in God. We are here to serve Him. And, well, of course, I didn't know that because I hadn't been in church, and I didn't know the Bible that well, So I'm rabbit trailing here, but so that's that one scripture. It's just we need to focus more on Him and not on the things that are right in front of us. Pray to God about it and just release it. Release it for the time being, so you don't make yourself ill with the worrying. Anyway, that's all for tonight, everybody. It's already starting to get dark. My lanterns should be cutting on any minute, and my patio lights should be cutting on. They're solar as well. But I really enjoyed this, and I hope that I can do this more often. It does me some good because I do a little bit more in-depth studying um, when I know when I know I'm going to read it to somebody else. I know I better do a little bit more than just read it. And also, something I've been taught is I'm reading it with my eyes. The best way to study is to read it with your eyes and speak it with your tongue. And that way, when you're speaking it out loud, you're also hearing it. So you're reading it, you're speaking it, and you're hearing it. And that's the best way to study Scripture. All right, everybody, y'all have a great evening. Say your prayers tonight, and God bless.